I know that title's gotcha. Why my whole wheat, no fat added biscuits taste better than yours? Um, it is the flour. It truly is. Hey friends, want to know why my whole wheat, no fat added biscuits are so good they don't even need butter? I'll give you one delicious word: fresh ground grains. Most people bake with store-bought self-rising flour, but did you know that stuff is dead? The bran and germ are stripped out, leaving behind bland, lifeless flour. It might be convenient, but it's robbing your food of flavor and nutrition. Freshly ground flour, it's alive, it's full of flavor, it's full of nutrition, and trust me, you can taste the difference. My biscuits have no added fat, yes, no oil, no butter, and no shortening. The rich, nutty taste comes straight from the whole grain itself. It's like the wheat does all the heavy lifting. And here's where it gets fun. I started experimenting with different grains. Hard white wheat, soft white wheat. The hard white wheat gives you a soft, sweet biscuit. The red wheat gives you a hearty, bold flavor. And just FYI, if you want to make a really good cream of wheat, hard red wheat is your go-to. It is delicious. Kamut is golden and almost buttery, and spelt is so tender and smooth, as is einkorn, which is what I used when I made. Okay, first thing is first, we're going to turn our oven on and we're going to set it to 450. And we're going to let it preheat. We also need to gather our supplies. This is the bread pan I'm baking it in. I always use gloves when I make bread, when I'm kneading by hand, because I just don't like the texture to feel it on my hands. You're going to need a rolling pin. You don't need this, but it helps with the kneading because it doesn't stick to this as bad. And you're going to need something to cut out the biscuits. And you're going to need a place to knead the dough. You are also going to need a bowl for your grains to fall into and for you to mix up the dough, and a grain mill. And we're just going to turn the grain mill on. And we're going to pour in our grains. You're also going to need about 2 cups of flour for the kneading. Okay, so now we have all of our ingredients. We're going to start adding our dry ingredients together. That's our oven coming to temperature. So we need 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Baking powder, not baking soda. Half of a teaspoon of salt. And now we're going to mix these really well, which is why we need the whisk. And I'm being messy because I'm getting it everywhere. By the way, I use this silicone mat to knead my biscuits on and my buns and stuff, because it's just so much easier to pick it up and take it over to the sink to wash it. and then to have to clean the counter off. Okay, so next we're going to add in 2 cups of homemade, well, sorry, 1 cup of homemade yogurt. I'm using a half a cup, so that's why I said 2. And this is soy yogurt I made from soy milk that I made right here at home myself. Which is so easy to do. I will show you guys sometime. Oh, my helper has disappeared. And now we're going to need about 2 cups of water, but we're going to add it slowly. So that's about 1 cup right there. By the way, I did weigh out the grains that I turned into flour. Because if you weigh the grains, then you're going to get the same weight in flour. Just, I know that's kind of common sense, but it may not be common for everyone, so that's fine. We will share that information. And so now you just mix it. You don't want to over mix it, but you do want to make sure that you get all the dry flour mixed in. And I just scrape in the bottom and the sides while I spin the bowl around to make sure I get all of it stirred in. And that's what you want. You want a thick dough. Now I'm going to set that aside while I put on my gloves. Because the flour I knocked out. And I'm setting my I have a larger rolling pin, but I love this small little rolling pin because it is perfect. I mean, you can use this one for cookies, you can use this for biscuits, whatever. I love it. So now you're going to take the other flour and you're just going to spread it around on your surface. And then we're going to pour out our dough. I used to be able to make like really huge fluffy biscuits using the dead flour, the self-rising flour that you get at the store. So it was actually a learning curve to learn how to make the biscuits from fresh ground dough, fresh ground flour. So you're going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on top. And as I lift it up, I just kind of sprinkle underneath. Because we want to keep the surface well floured. And when it does that, all you have to do is just scrape it off. I much prefer starting the kneading process with this dough scraper. Oh, sorry, I need to move something here to give myself more room. So, sorry about that. Right now we're just like thickening the dough up a little more. Woo. Sorry about that. When you have a small kitchen, you kind of have to work with the space you have. Okay, so now it's kind of firming up a little bit, so I'm going to start kneading it by hand. And once again, you do not want to over knead the dough. Can you tell the difference in the way the dough is reacting to my folds? Besides it being sticky. And this is actually what took me the longest to learn, was the kneading part of the whole grain, because it is different. At least for me it is. Ugh. Whoops. I'm just making sure I keep my surface well floured. And when it gets sticky, I just flour it some more. All right, so this is not holding together yet, so it still needs a little more flour. Do you see why I use gloves? And it's sticking on the bottom. Now it's feeling a little more firm and I can pick it up finally. That's what I'm looking for, is to be able to pick it up, that it's firm enough I can pick it up. And now we're going to flour our rolling pin, and we're going to start rolling it out. To about 3/4 of an inch thickness. And then we're going to start cutting our biscuits and laying them over on the bread pan. You want the biscuits to be close but not touching. All right, it was sticking to the inside, so I just floured it. Okay, those won't make biscuits, so what we're going to do is we're just going to get all these pieces and we're going to knead them in together again, if it'll stop sticking to my gloves. Then we're going to roll it back out to about 3/4 of an inch thickness. You can make them up to an inch thick. I've actually made some that thick, but this is perfect size, I think. Ugh. And it's stuck. And I am using kamut flour. I'm sorry, einkorn flour today, because I like trying out different flours to make the biscuits. And each flour will react a little differently, so it's going to be a learning curve, but it's so worth it. And this last piece, I'm just going to form with my hands into a small biscuit. My husband likes to eat these. And I'm out of space. Okay, let me remove my gloves and I will be right back. Now, my mother used to keep this flour right here, but I don't, because she would sift the little bits of flour dough that's left in there once it dries. She would sift it out, but because we want living bread, we're not going to sift out the flour. So this is all going to go in the trash. This right here. And this I will save to use for next time when I go to make bread, because this is just on the outside. When most of the flour is living, I think it's okay to use older flour for kneading, just to keep from being wasteful. But I mean, that's how much was wasted, so that's not bad. And there's our mess. And there are biscuits on our pan. And our stove is already to temperature, so we're just going to pop this bread pan in there. And we're going to close it and set the timer for 12 minutes. Literally 12 minutes is all it takes for my stove. Whoops. And we'll be back when they're done. Okay, our stove is going off. Our timer is going off. Not the stove, the timer. So our biscuits are ready. Look at that. Don't those look delicious? Well, they are. My family loves them. Now, you don't want to leave them sitting on a hot pan because why? They will steam. So I have a wire basket that I just pop them in to let them cool somewhere where the cats won't get them, because our cats love our bread. And you see, I had space between the biscuits when I put them in the oven, but now they have expanded into each other. And that's why you put the space. Now you want to let these cool about 5 minutes or so, because you never want to serve really piping hot bread, because A, it'll burn your fingers, and B, it just helps the crumbs set up better to let them cool a little bit. And that's with any bread. Sorry, I didn't realize I was doing that off camera. And that's the little baby biscuit. So there you have it. Whole wheat, fat-free, good for you, living biscuits. Every grain adds its own flavor and texture. You can get creative and find your perfect blend. If you've been using the same old dead flour, it's time to try something new. Once you taste a biscuit or any bread that's been made with fresh ground flour, there's no going back. The printable recipe is linked below in this video. Try it out and let me know in the comments which grain combo you used and how fast they disappeared. Until next time, stay healthy in heart.